classic Thai stir-fried greens, classic Chinese steamed greens. These are my ultimate Asian greens, Thai pak bung phai dang, and Chinese steamed garlic broccoli. Asian greens. All right, I'm going to run you through two of my favorite ways to prepare Asian greens, and they're totally different, very different kinds of vegetables, different kind of cooking methods, but both very easy and will result in super tasty Asian greens. All right, let's get started on the Chinese version first. Now I'm using Chinese broccoli here, so let's talk about Chinese broccoli. It's also known as Chinese kale, also known as gailan, also known as anything else? I'm not sure. I'm sure someone will tell me in the comments if it's known as anything else. Now take a look here. It has a fairly thick stem down the bottom here, and then goes up into some dark greens up here. Now you're looking for a vegetable that has nice green leaves without any yellow bits. If you see some yellow, it means it's probably a little old, and some nice fresh light green stems. All right, so that's your Chinese broccoli. Now, over here I have some Thai pak bung, now also known as morning glory, also known as kangkong, also known as water spinach. Oh, I thought of one more name for the Chinese broccoli. In Thailand we call it kanat, so there you go, another name. Anyway, back to the water spinach, or kangkong, or morning glory. This is what this one looks like, really thin kind of leaves, and if you grab a hold of this one, and the Chinese broccoli, and we have a look over here, you can see the main difference here is the leaves and the stems. And if you have a look at the Thai green vegetable here, it's got a hollow stem down the bottom. Now you can give either of the cooking methods I'm going to show you a go with things like bok choy, pak choy, even broccolini. If you can't get Chinese broccoli, don't feel constrained by the types of Asian greens I'm using, because both of these recipes are really worth giving a go. Now let's prepare our Chinese broccoli first of all. Now to get the very best out of this vegetable, I like to go a little extra step with the preparation. It doesn't take that much longer, and it results in really beautiful, tender, sweet stems. So have a look at the stem here. Usually it's quite dry on the end here, so I like to just chop that off. And then what you want to do is separate the leafy part from the stem. So cut here, and I generally cut the leaves in half again if they're quite large. And now the stems themselves, I like to take off some of these branches. And then I find that a lot of the time the outside part of this stem is a little bitter and a little tough. So I like to just slide my knife along and kind of peel it. And you can see you get to like a really pale, beautiful, almost white center here. And that is really nice and sweet and lovely. Now there is an easier way to do this. If you would like, you can use a vegetable peeler too. Sometimes with these smaller ones you don't have to, but just give them a couple of goings over with the vegetable peeler. Now before we get to cooking the greens, I'm going to make some garlic oil. So just add some oil into a saucepan. Add in some very finely chopped garlic. Now you want to keep your eye on this garlic. It will burn on you in like a second if you walk away. So don't be checking like Instagram and stuff at this point. Just stick with the garlic, wait for it to sizzle. And now the key here is to take this garlic and the oil off the heat before the garlic chips turn all the way brown, because they will continue cooking as they kind of come off the heat. Now I've got a nice blonde color here. I'm going to pull those off and just strain off the oil. I want to keep that crunchy garlic. I'm just going to drain it on some paper towel. Now I'm going to use the crispy garlic a little bit later on to finish off our dish. First of all, let's make some use of that garlic oil and make a little sauce. So I just need a little bit of oyster sauce first of all, and some soy sauce, some sesame oil, some sugar, a couple of spoonfuls of that garlic oil, and then I want a little bit of water to kind of thin the sauce out a bit. And I've got some boiling here ready for my greens, so I'm going to scoop out some of that. Hot water just helps to dissolve the sugar and get everything mixed up nicely. Okay, all the bits and pieces done. Now it's just time for the greens. Now I want some rapidly boiling water. I'm going to add a dash of salt here. It's all these little additions like the salt in the water, peeling your broccoli stems, just a couple of extra steps that make your home cooking extra special. Now I want my stems to go in first because they're going to take longer. Once they've had about 3 or so minutes, I'm going to throw in my leaves. And now the leaves themselves only take a couple of minutes, so we're looking pretty good here. They're looking nice and dark, slightly wilted. Stems are looking fresh and bright green, so I'm going to take everything out. And I like to spread my leaves and stems out on my plate because that way they all get a bit of sauce and a bit of garlic at the end. Now while they're still nice and warm, you want to drizzle them with that beautiful sauce we made. And sprinkle them with some of that crispy garlic. And there you go. A really simple dish, but with a couple of little extra techniques, really special. All right, let's get on to the Thai version next. Now, preparing the Thai pak bung vegetable is a lot quicker and easier. We just grab a bunch and rip. Just sort of little bite-sized pieces here. And this is one of those vegetables that wilts down into like nothing. So you'll start off with a big mound, but we'll end up with just the right plateful. Now I want quite a bit of garlic here, and one of the things I find interesting about both of these dishes is there's a lot of similar ingredients. So the vegetable, the garlic, the oyster sauce, but the way that you treat them is very different. So the garlic here, I just want to take the skins off. Leave those whole for the minute. I want a couple of chilies. Just take the ends off. And then you could just roughly chop these, but for the right texture in my mind, it needs to be done with a mortar and pestle. So garlic cloves go in. Chilies, I'll just tear up into there. Now I want a light bruising here only. So see what I mean? Very rough. And I'm just gonna pop that right on top of my vegetable. And now, this should all happen very quickly and at a very high heat. In fact, if you have traveled in Thailand and you've seen this being made on the streets, you see a huge amount of flame and it's all very exciting. We're not gonna burn my eyebrows off or set the alarm off, so we won't get a huge amount of flame and smoke here, but I do want you to get your wok or your pan as hot as possible. Now I'm waiting for this to kind of get scary hot where we see some smoke. And the whole point is that this vegetable cooks really quickly, and I want to make sure that we get some of that like smoke flavor and some of the charriness happening really quickly. You can see the smoke now. Add in the oil. The whole lot goes in at once. Now quickly add in your sauces, oyster sauce, fish sauce, and a little dash of sugar. Always you should be coughing. That means you're doing it right. Now the trick I think to this dish is that you keep it quite dry in the wok. You'll see there's not a lot of sauce happening in the bottom of the wok here. But what will happen is once you put it onto the plate, veggies kind of keep steaming away and they form a little bit of a pool of sauce in the bottom. You see what I mean? Whew. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. So literally a few seconds and we're ready to go. Alright, so see how we're getting a lot more of that sauce now appearing at the bottom underneath those Thai vegetables. It's just what we want. And my beautiful Chinese vegetables looking so lovely with that beautiful golden garlic on the top. Love that. These are the kinds of dishes that actually make you want to eat your greens. You know, going to the trouble of doing that garlic oil and having that mix of the garlic oil and the sesame is really so special in that dish. And then the crunchy garlic on top. Yum. And now, of course, my favorite Thai vegetable, a nice bit of chili on there. Spicy, garlicky, salty.
If you've got any comments or questions, pop them below. And if you enjoyed the video, why not hit that subscribe button plus the little bell one, and that way you'll get notified every time I release a new video. Thanks guys.